So the knowledge area that we're going to discuss today is project time management. So far, we have discussed project scope management and integration management. So third is the time management. This is one of the most key knowledge areas along with cost, quality, and scope. Those are other knowledge areas are important, but these are not to be taken lightly. Particularly time and cost, people worry a lot. This has to be taken very seriously. Here, the concept of process groups, saying that there are 5 and other things we have discussed. So these are what we call processes. There are 5 process groups: initiating, these things we have discussed, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. So out of these processes, there are 6 processes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Defined activities belongs to the planning process. Sequencing once again belongs to the planning process. Estimating resources, planning process. Duration, planning process. Schedule, once again planning process. This is monitoring and controlling. Out of these 5, to which process group each of these process belongs to is denoted as this. So this is sequential. First thing that we need to do is defining activities. What activities are, that we have to discuss a bit. Here, what we mean by activities are BOQ items. I mean, this is not a rule, but it's easier if we take BOQ items as activities, or we call these work packages, costable items, where the cost is known of something, we call that activity, costable items. Now we know the concept of work breakdown structure, scope management area. We discussed what work breakdown structure is. In work breakdown structure, let's say a house, there are summary activities like this, and there are activities like this. So this lowest level is what we call activities here. In what of the branches, in which of the branches, that doesn't really matter. Lowest level work breakdown structure activities. Lowest level of WBS. All can be said activities. So we need to define these. Depending on our project, depending on the stuff that we need to do, we need to define these activities first. Then sequencing activities. Sequencing is what here pretty much it's dependencies. What after what? Here we have 4 things: finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, start to finish. So out of these activities that are defined already, we need to identify what has to be done, what are the dependencies, what has to be done before one particular activity. We can't start with the roof if we take a house. That bit is obvious. So for roof, there are certain elements that we need to have. We need to have walls, maybe we need to have columns, maybe we need to have beams. Depending on the situation, before roof, these things have to happen. Then for the sequencing activities, we need to estimate the activity resources. Let's say for foundation, let's say rubber work foundation, the amount of rubber that we need, the amount of sand that we need, the amount of water that we need, the amount of skilled labor that we need, and the amount of unskilled labor that we need. The amount, 3 meter cubes of rubber, like that. We need to estimate the resources that we need. We did this with MS project last semester, not last semester, couple of semesters back. We did this with MS project, and we did this with the construction planning module last semester as well. Then we need to determine the durations of each of these activities. The durations based on the resources that we have. Let's say we have 7 meter cubes of rubble work to be done. So with this amount of skilled laborers, with this amount of unskilled laborers, what is the duration that it takes? Remember, all these are related to activities for each of the activities. So what activities are we have discussed a while back. Now, each of the activities, let's say excavation, it takes this long. Rubble work, it takes this long. Backfilling, it takes this long. Wall construction, it takes this long. The duration for each of these activities based on the resources that we have. Then having the activities, we have activities now, we have sequence of activities, we have resources, and we have durations. In fact, for this time management knowledge area, we are interested in this work type resources. What do you mean by work type? If something is paid for the time they spend on the project, paid for the time. Laborers, that's a work type resources. If concrete mixture is hired, that's work type resource. If an excavator is hired, we pay that for the time that it spends on the project. So those are work type resources. So having known all this, we can develop the schedule. That's what we did with the MS project. So the duration of the project is known. The duration of each of these activities and duration of the project is known. Then having had these schedule, right, this is from here onwards, before starting the project, before starting the maybe construction. This is while the construction is going on from here onwards. I'm relating to construction projects only here. The schedule is developed when the project is going on, whether the project goes as per the plan. That we need to determine. So if it's not going to the plan, we should have remedial measures proposed. So these are the things that we are expected to do in project time management knowledge area. So defining activities, we'll go one by one. This is the first process. Inputs are scope baseline. That is basically what we need to do. The scope baseline that we have discussed in last knowledge area, the basic outline of the things that we need to do. You have written a scope statement last time. Then enterprise environmental factors. This we have discussed. The templates and all. This we have discussed. So those are the inputs. Tools and techniques. Decomposition. That's the most common technique that we use. Breaking down to activities. Let's say we have a project, a house. House is consisting of foundation, walls, maybe roof, electrical and plumbing services, let's say, and maybe painting. So all these activities add up to the house. So the foundation, if we don't know the total cost of foundation, if there's no way of finding the total cost of foundation, we divide this foundation also into small parts like excavation, rubble work. The bigger project, it's broken down into small manageable parts. That's what you call decomposition. Decomposing. That's basically the process that develops the work breakdown structure. There's a big project, we break down into smaller parts. That's what we call decomposition. And rolling wave planning. Rolling wave planning, most of the projects adapt that. We plan activities to a certain level only. Let's say when the foundation is going on, we plan foundation only. When the part of the foundation is done only, we plan for walls. How to do that? We have a basic idea. Okay, walls are done with these materials and we are planning to have this much of labors and all. Roof also bigger level to higher level of WBS. Walls, we have an idea of the roof, we have idea how to do painting, we have an idea, but we are not planning it to a detailed level. We are not developing the schedule to the detailed level. We develop the foundation only. If that goes according to the plan, when the foundation goes on, the other things are discussed. Template, these are the tools and techniques that we're discussing. Templates, if you have previous projects data, that's what I have asked you to do. Gather details of a previous project, and we can try to add that, like take the similar things to this project and do the management of the project. Expert judgment is pretty much experience in this case, experience of the workers. Those are the tools and techniques. After this process, we should have the activity list, activity attributes, and milestones list. Where can we check the progress of the project to maybe after a certain level, you might have to check the progress. So this is the process of defining activities. By the end of this, we should have something like this. Now, these are activities. These red rectangles, they are activities. These are summary activities. These are the things that we cost. When we cost these three, the cost of Oops Lab is automatically found. When we cost and schedule, in fact, this knowledge area, we are worrying about the schedule. If we schedule activities, the entire project is reflected there. So we should have an understanding of what this defining activities is. Then having those as inputs, and with the scope, we determine these things. Precedence diagramming method we have discussed last time. Dependencies we should be able to determine. Apply leads and lags. Let's say after casting a concrete slab, we should wait for maybe 14 days, maybe 21 days to start the construction of an upper floor, depending on the concrete that you use. This we have discussed in detail last semester. So if you know the duration of each activity and if you know the dependencies of those activities, so we can have an understanding of the schedule that you're going to develop. So schedule network diagram is the output. This we have discussed. So this is a sum that you have discussed last semester. I'm not going into detail. If you remember, we have done this. We know the duration, activity. We had these things like this. So it's what we call by this knowledge area. If you don't remember, you can refer my lecture to semester 4 people that will be uploaded maybe as soon as they send me. I will upload that. So you can refer their lecture. I'm not going into detail. And this is dependencies, leads, and lags. For example, excavation can be started 1 day before site clearing finishes. This is the finish to start link with a lead of 1 day before, lead of 1 day. For example, backfilling has to be started after finishing rubber load. This is the finish to start link. Here, 2 finish to start concrete has to be done after laying bars and after laying formworks. 2 finish to start links. So this is something that we have to have an understanding. If you don't remember, refer my previous lecture. Estimating activity resources. Once again, we are having this input activity leads and attributes. Then the resource calendars. Like let's say a tiling person, he doesn't come all the time. He comes when he is needed. He's working in several projects. Let's say if you want him in the evening, you can have him in the evening. So resource calendar for that is in the evening. Or maybe there are special equipment. Maybe there's one JCB for the entire organization. So you have to use that in different projects. In that case, JCB is used in this site, in these months, maybe days, maybe this time, like that. The calendars may be different depending on the scarcity of the resource, depending on the rareness of the resources. And these we have discussed previously. And expert judgment, by experience, we can determine, okay, what are the resources and how many resources that we need. For example, an experienced person know 1 meter cube of rubble work needs 1.4 meter cubes of rubble. That's coming with experience. That's coming with experience. Depending on the case, depending on the shape of the rubble that we use. Alternatives analysis. Let's say excavation, do we hire a JCB to excavate, or maybe you do it manually? Depending on the case, we need to consider the alternatives, and we need to find out. Published estimating data, that means if something is not familiar to us, we should check what is there, what has been done in the world to do that, to estimate that, and we need to find those out. Bottom-up estimating is a technique that we use to develop the BOQ. That means we develop the schedule for individual activities. What activities have we have discussed a while back, like a couple of minutes back. So let's say we have this work breakdown structure. So bottom we estimate. When the bottom is estimated, the top is automatically estimated. That's what we mean by bottom up, bottom to up in the work breakdown structure. And we use project management software like MS Project or Primavera to estimate resources and develop the schedule. Right. So this is an example that I have worked out with you all in your semester 3. So for each of these things, and I have shared that Excel workbook with you that has all the tentative, like approximate values of those 6 activities that you can use. What I'm expecting you to do is to develop the schedule with MS Project. Schedule for the time being, not the cost or anything. Schedule for the time being. In the next knowledge area, we will discuss the cost. For your project, you have defined, you have selected the project. For that project, I expect you to prepare that MS Project plan with this definition of activities with a proper report. Estimating activity durations, once again, expert judgment is experience. Analogous estimating is like if there's a similar previous project that is done, you're taking that data from that particular project. Let's say a 10-story building is been constructed. There's another similar 10-story building is constructed somewhere else. So you have an understanding of how long does it take. Parametric estimate is statistical relationship. It's like per square foot, it takes 7,500 rupees. That's one way of representing. If you have the floor area, this is for cost. It's not directly relevant here. Per square foot, if it's a 1,000 square foot building, a single story, it takes this long. There should be some value like that. 3-point estimate is, if you have time, we'll work out an example on this. TO is the most optimistic time. TM is the most likely time. TP is the most pessimistic time. Okay, I have removed the example. Let's say rain. For example, rain. In October, November, let's say with our previous experience, this is an example, 3 points estimate. Let's say on average, 10 days are raining. On average, 10 days are raining. But there are some cases, some years, there's only 2 days of rain, dry year. But there are some years, there are 20 days of rain. So we can't exactly predict a time that would be lost due to rain. On average, it's 10 days. Sometimes it's not raining at all. It's very good. Sometimes it's raining almost like 20 days a month. Let's say November. How do we take a value in developing the schedule? Here, optimistic is most positive value, favorable value. Here in this case, if we assume 30 days a month, most optimistic value is only 2 days of rain. It's the most positive value. So 30 minus 2 is 28. TO, most optimistic value, is 28. TP is the most pessimistic value, most negative. 30 minus 20, 10. The amount of days that we could work. Most likely is 10. 10 is number of workable days is 20. So the day that we take for scheduling, the amount of time that we should take for scheduling, that in November, the amount of days that we could work is TO, most optimistic time, that is in this case 28, plus 4 times the most likely, 4 times 10, 20, because 10 days rain means 20 days of working, plus Point to the most pessimistic, 10 divided by 6. You can simplify that, and as in scheduling, this is amount of days that you can take. So that is 3-point estimate. Reserve and this we will discuss later. Then developing the schedule with all these taken as inputs, schedule networks, critical path, resource leveling. You can, if you don't remember, we have discussed all this. Critical chain we have not discussed. What if also we discussed with MS Project? Applying lead and lag, schedule compression. There are two techniques, crashing and fast tracking. We have discussed this. So with all these techniques, with all those data, we can develop the project schedule and schedule baseline. Project schedule and schedule baseline. What this baseline is, we have discussed with respective MS Project last time. Okay. Then controlling the schedule. When the project is going on, we are checking whether we are comparing it with the plan. We compare these two and make some assumptions, like earned value we use for this. Earned value, we have discussed this in semester 3 and last semester, semester 4 as well as I can remember. Okay. So this is for controlling variance. So when the project goes on, if it is delayed, we use resource leveling, we use crashing. We have to fast track. Then request changes and which gets updated in the plan. So this is the process. This is pretty much what you have done with MS Project a couple of semesters back. So what I expect you to do in groups, this is all that I'm going to discuss as series. What I expect you to do in groups is to develop a schedule for your project. I don't take what you have that the site people have developed. They are not really up to the mark in most cases. If it's up to the mark, just try to understand the concepts. For each of the activities that you have, what I expect you to do is define, this is the, you need to follow this process. You need to do each of these things. I expect this in your reports. So you need to define activities, you need to sequence activities, you need to estimate activity resources, estimate durations depending on the resources that you have, then develop the schedule. So with MS Project, I expect you to do that in your groups. I will give you some time to ask questions if you have any, right? If you don't understand what you need to do in your groups, then after next knowledge area, I will ask you to submit whatever the details that you have. So last Wednesday, I gave you time to discuss the rest of the project. And here I expect you to do this in groups, right? If you have any questions on what you need to do, you can ask now. Anybody having issues? I just need you to develop the MS project plan, not the cost for the time being. Software is needed, yes. Time plan only for the time being, yes. But the next knowledge area, you'll have to develop the cost anyway with your BOQ. Right. I'm going to send you to groups now.